Part 11. Amnesiac Bigshot remembers only me, the boss lost his memory and only remembers me. Author, Ding Jiashu. Chapter 101. Wen Qiao quickened his pace. Wait for me here, I'll take mine to the dormitory and then help you. After saying that, he ran away. Lu Yuyu held onto the railing. My Zhou, can you be a little more conscious of a great beauty? Your beauty, which in ancient times could make kings play with the princes, should be praised by everyone. After a while, Wen Qiao came back, carrying her suitcase with one hand and the quilt with the other. Lu Yuyu followed behind and shouted, I'll carry one. It's okay, I'll just come. Behind them were Zhao Tong and Su Lu, each holding a glass of frappuccino. Zhao Tong sneered, did you see? There's not even anyone to help carry the luggage, and you're still looking sad every day because of Wen Qiao, the folk music department, a department that is swaying in the wind and the wind. Maybe one day Wen Qiao will be thinking about it, the department will be closed, and she will get out and go home. Only then did Su Lu smile. There are 4 people in the dormitory, including Wen Qiao, Lu Yuyu, another girl with short androgynous hair who is making the bed, and a lowly style girl wearing hanfu with a timid look in her eyes. Lu Yuyu knew her well and introduced herself. The short-haired girl is Lin Xiang, who plays the flute, and the lowly style girl is called Chun Xiao, who plays the drums. Wen Qiao called Fu Nanli. The phone was turned off. He had a flight at 5 o'clock in the afternoon. This seemed to be the last assessment. After passing the assessment, he could return to his position as captain. Wen Qiao stared at the 2 million in his account, distressed. If she spent another 2 million on him, would he give her 4 million instead? She is so difficult. Excessive, Lu Yuyu suddenly shouted in anger, and Wen Qiao's attention was attracted by her. What happened again? The school forum initiated a vote on whether to close the folk music department. Currently, 96% of the people are in favor of closing the folk music department, and only 4% voted against closing the folk music department. Is it necessary for the folk music department to exist? No, last year we could still recruit 100 students, but this year there are only 38. I found out that at least 20 of them want to transfer to another department. Just for 38 students, isn't it a waste of resources to open so many classes and hire so many professors? I heard that the Heian folk music department only charges single digits. It is currently being adjusted. There is a high probability that the folk music department will not open next year. Lu Yuyu was so angry that she stamped her feet. If even Yanjian closes the folk music department, then folk music will really be finished. Wen Qiao took the pipa out of the piano bag and wiped it gently and carefully. The folk music department won't turn it off, don't worry. Lin Xiang held the flute in her hand tightly, it won't turn off. In the dormitory next door, Zhao Tong was swiping his phone. Lulu, let's quickly contribute to the vote to close the folk music department and cast a vote. Su Lu clicked into the school forum and voted in favor of closing the folk music department. It seems that she doesn't have to deal with Wen Qiao. Many people want her to get out. Students in other departments all felt that the folk music department had brought down the overall quality of the school, and they all wanted to get Wen Qiao and the others who played the pipa and erhu out of the school. This vote was so serious that it even reached the student union and even the school board of directors. All students except the folk music department felt that establishing a formal department just for 38 students was a waste of public resources. The principal strongly opposed the closure of the folk music department. This school is not the principal's dictum. The school has a board of directors, and the directors vote on it. Amnesiac Bigshot remembers only me, the boss lost his memory and only remembers me. Author, Ding Jiashu. Chapter 102. The next day, Lu Yuyu looked worried. Qiao, I heard that the school board held a meeting overnight last night. Our folk music department may really be shut down. Wen Qiao leaned on the bed and scrolled through his phone. I heard that Shangfan is coming to our school to perform at the New Year's Eve party. Do you still have time to check Weibo? Think of a way, or ask my dad to donate money to the school. I don't know if my dad is willing. Then he lowered his voice and said, otherwise, if you tell Mr. Fu, the school will definitely betray his face if Mr. Fu just says a word. Wen Qiao lowered his head and sent a message to Song Hao, then looked up at Lu Yuyu. We have already recruited the folk music department this time. It is impossible to drive us all away. Moreover, the folk music department will not be closed in the future, so you don't have to worry. They won't drive us away, but they won't teach us well either. Wasting 4 years here isn't a waste of time. Wen Qiao touched her head. Okay, don't worry, Shangfan is very popular. Lu Yuyu said absently, yes, he is very popular. He graduated from Yanjian. He is a famous talent and handsome. He should be considered top-notch. He is the pride of Yanjian and has a good relationship with the school, so we only invited him to perform at this New Year's Eve party. It just so happened that he released a new song in August, so he should be singing that new song. When Qiao opened the music app, the new song seems to be very popular. It's not just popular, it's explosive, right? Jingj, it's #1 on all major music charts. This song is playing in the streets and alleys. The music section of Station B has been slaughtered. I just passed a few stores. The song was heard in the dormitory, and it became very popular. When Qiao looked at the composer Mu Yu, lowered his head and smiled. He felt a sense of accomplishment that the music he composed had become so popular. Oh, by the way, I heard that Zhao Tong and Su Lu want to perform with Shangfan at the New Year's Eve party. Zhao Tong's family has connections, so I guess it can be done. I don't know what they will do by then. When Qiao patted the piano body, can you all sing Jingj? Several people didn't know what she meant. Get ready, we will cooperate with Shangfan at the New Year's Eve party the day after tomorrow. Lu Yuyu. Lin Xiang. Chun Xiao. Lu Yuyu touched Wen Qiao's forehead. Do you have a fever? In the dormitory next door, Zhao Tong said proudly, I have asked my dad to contact Haimao Records. At the welcome party the day after tomorrow, we will perform on stage with Shangfan. The poor little folk music department can only look up to us. Su Lu, is it possible? Shangfan is so popular now and has a very high net worth. The school is supporting him. It's not a big problem. Our family has cooperated with Haimao. Their boss should give my dad a face. Haimao Company. Music director Song Hao walked into the conference room, and Shangfan, who was about to leave after the meeting, stayed behind. Yanjian's welcome party the day after tomorrow is the first performance of your new song. How are you preparing for it? I've been practicing singing these past 2 days. Don't worry, brother Hao. What does that teacher Mu Yu look like? She can make a song that suits me so well. I'm really curious about her. Can't you introduce me to her? I keep a low profile and don't want to be exposed to the media. You have to respect me. I'm keeping you here to tell you something. I will arrange for 4 female students from the folk music department of Yanjian to perform with you at the welcome party the day after tomorrow. Shangfan fiddled with the necklace around his neck. President Wang just arranged for 2 girls to cooperate with me. Are they together? No, I'm going back to Mr. Wang. You must perform with these 4 girls. Who are you? I haven't seen Brother Hao, so you walked through the back door. Don't worry about it. Anyway, go to Yanjian early that day and rehearse, you know. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Amnesiac Bigshot remembers only me, the boss lost his memory and only remembers me. Author, Ding Jiashu. Chapter 103. Just when the school board was in a panic, it received a request from Shang Fan to invite girls from the folk music department to perform together. Originally, the chairman of the board of directors planned to issue a notice not to recruit students from the folk music department in the coming year, but once Shang Fan's invitation came, the notice was suppressed. On the afternoon of the welcome party, when Xiao carried his piano bag and waved his hand, Shang Fan has already arrived at the gymnasium. Let's go over and rehearse with him, bringing your respective instruments. The three of them were still hesitant. Shang Fan, you are so popular, can you agree to perform with us? You'll know once you go there. Backstage at the gym, Zhao Tong held Sulu in his arms and sighed, forget it, after all Shang Fan is so popular and he is the company's cash cow. If he doesn't agree, his boss can't do anything to him. Let's just be the audience tonight, alright? Sulu forced a smile. She had already imagined that she would be in the limelight as soon as she entered the school, but unfortunately Shang Fan's stance was too firm. There was laughter from behind. The flyover performing artists are here, please give way. Why don't you have an erhu? You have a weak soul. Sulu turned her head and looked at the four girls in Wen Xiao's dormitory standing at the door of the backstage holding their own musical instruments. The girl in Hanfu was carrying a drum behind her back, looking funny and ridiculous. Give it. Wen Xiao looked coldly at the two people standing sideways at the door. Zhao Tong folded his arms and looked at her contemptuously, why are you here? Wen Xiao tightened the strap of her piano bag. Zhao Tong, don't you think this scene is familiar? Zhao Tong was stunned, what's familiar? Lu Yuyu looked at her with a sneer, how forgetful, noble man? Did you forget about Master Vincent's concert outside the Jasmine cruise ship in July? You are so dismissive of us. Sulu was surprised. Shang Fan was a popular singer and a top-notch singer. Many seniors in the school probably wanted to collaborate with him. Wen Xiao? Was it arranged by Fu Nanli? Master Vincent's last concert must have been arranged by Fu Nanli. Sulu smiled with disdain. She was just relying on a man. Wen Xiao, do you need to be so arrogant? Zhao Tong gritted his teeth, what are you bragging about? Does Shang Fan appreciate folk music? And he still performs with you. Lu Yuyu sneered, you think they are all like you, worshipping foreigners, flattering others, and being brainless. Who are you saying is brainless? Lu Yuyu raised her eyebrows, have you said it so plainly? Do you still want me to say it directly? You just have no brains. You. The backstage door opened, and a staff member poked his head out, is Wen Xiao here? Arrive. Come in quickly and rehearse with Shang Fan. Time is running out. Under everyone's disbelief, Wen Xiao carried her piano bag and led the three people in the dormitory into the backstage. The girls asking for autographs looked at each other. What's the situation? Isn't that a new student in the folk music department? Yes, how could Shang Fan cooperate with them? What is their background? Sulu's face was ashen, and it took Zhao Tong a long time to react, relying on a man, what's so great about it? After saying that, he pulled Sulu out of the backstage of the stadium and sat on the plastic track next to the playground. Zhao Tong was filled with indignation, it's just relying on men, relying on Fu Nanli. It must have been arranged by Fu Nanli. What's so big about it? She sold her youth to please a rich man in exchange for these vain appearances. She really takes herself seriously. Amnesiac Bigshot remembers only me, the boss lost his memory and only remembers me. Author, Ding Jiashu. Chapter 104. Sulu snorted coldly, the price of fate's gift has already been secretly marked. Wen Xiao always accepts charity from men, and she will definitely pay the price. That is. Wen Xiao. Vincent saw the clip of her interview and approached her personally. Shang Fan's song was composed by her. When had she ever leaned on a man? Forget it, just be happy. Backstage, Shang Fan's eyes lit up when he saw Wen Qiao. Song Hao was his first choice. At that time, he was studying classical music. Everyone thought he should play piano in the symphony. No one believed he could become a pop singer. Piano is what his family expects from him. He personally prefers to stand on the stage where everyone is watching and sing the songs he likes. He submitted many song demos, but only Song Hao appreciated his musical talent and signed Hai Mao. Therefore, when Brother Hao arranged for him to perform on the same stage as students from the folk music department, it was impossible for him to refuse. But, I didn't have too much enthusiasm, thinking that he was probably a child from some relative that Brother Hao knew, and he just wanted to take this opportunity to make a splash. He should just give Brother Hao some face. When he saw Wen Qiao, he was amazed. This girl was too beautiful. Brother Hao's relatives actually had a child with such outstanding looks? I can't help but wonder what the relationship between this girl named Wen Qiao and Brother Hao is. Wen Qiao greeted Shang Fan calmly, not flattering or eager, just like an ordinary colleague. This made Shang Fan even more amazed. He was top-notch. Which little girl didn't look like a nymphomaniac when she saw him? This little girl has good concentration. Lu Yuyu leaned over and said, "Brother Fan, can we take a photo with you?" Lu Yuyu's purpose in life has always been to make Sulu and Zhao Tong angry. For such a rare and precious opportunity, of course I have to post it on my friends list. Although I don't know how Qiao won this cooperation. Lu Yuyu and Chun Xiao took photos with Shang Fan one by one. Wen Qiao was indifferent and was adjusting her pipa. Wen Qiao has always had such a light temper towards men other than Fu Nanli, even a little boyish. No matter how handsome and popular Shang Fan is, she is completely indifferent. The rehearsal went very smoothly, and there was even a sense of resonance with the soul of Boyaziki, mountains, and flowing water. It was the first time for Wen Qiao to listen to Lin Xiang and Chun Xiao's performance. Fortunately, they were at the pinnacle of their respective fields. Otherwise, I would not have been admitted to Yanjian under such difficult circumstances. The party started at 7 o'clock, and they rehearsed until 6 o'clock. Shang Fan put down the microphone and said, "Today really opened the door to a new world. It seems that I can properly incorporate folk music style into my songs in the future." Wen Qiao smiled. She already had two pieces of music in her hand. They were ancient-style fusion electronic dance music. They were very suitable for Shang Fan. She would send them to Song Hao when the time comes. Promote folk music and get twice the result with half the effort. Lu Yuyu took Wen Qiao's hand and said to Shang Fan, "Brother Fan, let's go back and change our clothes." Wen Qiao looked down at his t-shirt and jeans. "Can't you just wear this? Rough, really rougher than straight men." Lu Yuyu was about to vomit blood from her anger. "No, wear a small skirt." Back in the dormitory, Chun Xiao pulled through her wardrobe. "How about we all wear hanfu? I brought a lot of suits here." As the person in charge of styling, Lu Yuyu nodded. Yes, we are folk music. We wear hanfu and complement each other. It's a very good idea." Lin Xiang said coldly, "Is there anyone who is more neutral?" Amnesiac Bigshot remembers only me, the boss lost his memory and only remembers me. Author, Ding Jiashu. Chapter 105. Yes. Chun Xiao searched for a long time and found a red antique dress for Wen Qiao. Wen Qiao took it hesitantly. "Is this, not too popular?" She was pushed into the bathroom by Lu Yuyu. "As long as it looks good." Wen Qiao hesitantly changed his clothes and came out, staring at the three of them. Exotic and charming, even girls can't help but be impressed by her breathtaking beauty. Chun Xiao took out the veil. "Put this on." Wen Qiao clumsily put on the veil, and her beauty was looming, making her look even more mysterious and alluring. Chun Xiao and Lu Yuyu couldn't help showing silly faces. "It's so beautiful." Lin Xiang played the flute in her hand, raised her eyebrows slightly, and couldn't help but be attracted by the beauty in red. "Isn't it too ostentatious?" Wen Qiao looked embarrassed. Chun Xiao and Lu Yuyu pressed her hands one by one. "It's not ostentatious at all. Let's go to the gym quickly." Lin Xiang turned the flute in his hand and followed him out. Fu Nanli arrived in Haikan at 4 o'clock. After landing, Captain Cheng asked his co-pilot Xiao Gu to put away the camera in his hand. "Captain Fu, after more than a month of assessment, I have truthfully submitted the imaging data and my evaluation report. Next time you fly, you should be reinstated as captain." Captain Cheng. "No hard work, no hard work." Fu Nanli got off the plane holding the captain's hat in his hand. Several meetings were arranged as soon as he got off the plane, and he held meetings with the leaders of the aviation, maintenance, and centralized control departments. He looked at his watch from time to time. At 7 o'clock, her welcome party started. In the corridor outside the conference room, Luo Hui, the co-pilot of Group C, was standing next to the coffee machine. He made a cup of coffee with the coffee machine. When he saw Captain Cheng, he nodded and asked, "Captain Fu, our captain is assessing the ability pass." Captain Cheng smiled politely, "No problem." After that, walk away from him. Vice Captain Luo snorted, "As expected, he is a rich second generation, and his treatment is different from others." Next to him was his crew member Xiao Chia. "I originally thought that Captain Fu would be lowered after the car accident. It's a pity that Captain Fu was promoted to Group A and became the captain." Luo Hui took a sip of coffee. "You have to throw away when comparing goods, and you will die when comparing people. Our airline's rules and regulations have to give way to Master Fu. We ordinary people can't compare them, you know." Captain Hao was also involved in a car accident the year before last. Later, he said that his physical fitness and reaction ability were no longer good, so he retired. It's true that we are the same person but have different fates. The boss of our Dongchuan Airlines is his uncle, and Xiao Ji is always his cousin. Not to mention that their Fu family is rich, but his physical fitness is not up to standard. If the eldest young master wants to continue flying, he must be allowed to continue flying. We can only stay with the young master, and wait until the young master stops playing, and then we will have a chance. After a 10-hour flight, there was another 2.5-hour meeting. At 6:30, in the late summer evening, the sky was already dark. Fu Nanli stood up, pressed his eyebrows, and walked out without having time to change out of the captain's uniform. When passing by the corridor, Luo Hui hurriedly said hello to him. He only dared to make sarcastic remarks behind his back, and he was as respectful as he wanted to be when he saw me. Fu Nanli walked away from him expressionlessly. It wasn't until his back disappeared from the door that Luo Hui said softly, "The eldest young master is getting more and more arrogant. He is arrogant and ignores everyone." Tisk tisk. Fu Nanli got into the car, reached out and unbuttoned 2 buttons on his collar, and said in a deep voice, "Go to Yanjian. Dash. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment." Amnesiac Bigshot remembers only me, the boss lost his memory and only remembers me. Author, Ding Jiashu. Chapter 106. The evening breeze was blowing, the stage was set up on the playground, and all the students of the school were present. Because it was a music school, there were all kinds of skills on the stage. Various great gods showed off their special abilities, and the atmosphere was very lively. There were various traffic jams on the road. When Fu Nanli rushed to Yanjian, he saw Wen Qiao dressed in red sitting on the stage playing the pipa. It was different from the last performance in the small auditorium of number 9 middle school. The wind blew slowly by the lake. She was wearing a fiery red hanfu dress made of gauze material. It was soft and boneless and wrapped around her soft arms, like a little fairy on a mural, as if in a dream. Not only the students in the audience were attracted, but even Shang Fan, who was singing on stage, always unconsciously lingered on the girl playing the pipa in the corner of the stage. It was supposed to be just a small supporting role, just helping him accompany him. But now, she has become the biggest surprise of this show. The singing of Jing ignited the enthusiasm of all the students, and everyone waved their light sticks. Lin Xiang is dressed in a scholar's hanfu and plays a melodious flute. Chun Xiao is usually a cute Lolita, but now her drumming is full of power, creating a visual contrast. Lu Yuyu wears a white dress and plays the guqin, which is ethereal and beautiful. And Wen Qiao's every move, every frown, and every smile deeply captured the hearts of all the audience in the audience. Beautiful. Excellent piano skills. The beauty overwhelms the entire audience and is well deserved. Su Lu couldn't stand it anymore, so she pulled Zhao Tong and said, "Let's go." Zhao Tong raised her chin, "Come on, it's dragging down a performance that should have been wonderful. Wen Qiao is really a bad star, causing me to lose my followers as a star again." Fu Nanli stood at the back of the crowd, looking at the people on the stage across the sea of people. The evening breeze blew by, and Wen Qiao seemed to feel different eyes looking at her. She raised her eyes to look for that different look. The wind lifted her veil, giving a glimpse of her beauty. The wind seemed to be spiritual, rolling up her veil and blowing the veil loosely behind her ears. Just as the last syllable was played, Wen Qiao could reach out to grab it, but failed. The veil blew in front of Shang Fan. Shang Fan grabbed it casually, and the veil with her warmth fell into his palm. Fu Nanli just watched helplessly as the two people on the stage exchanged eyes and looked at each other affectionately. His face was gloomy. Shang Fan walked up to Wen Qiao and hugged her. This was like a spark hitting the earth, pouring a bucket of oil on the fire in Mr. Fu's heart. Fu Nanli's face became extremely gloomy. There were 4 assistant actors, but Shang Fan only hugged Wen Qiao. What it meant was self-evident. At the end of the crowd, Wen Qiao saw Fu Nanli and pushed Shang Fan away. "Okay, we're going to step down." Taking the veil from his hand, carrying the pipa, she and Lu Yuyu hurriedly got off the stage. Because Shang Fan had another song to perform, the students' attention was still on the stage. Wen Qiao handed the pipa to Lu Yuyu and said, "Take it back for me." Then he walked through the crowd with the hem of his skirt and walked under the camphor tree. Fu Nanli held the hands in his trouser pockets until his knuckles turned white. "You're here." The girl didn't seem to notice his displeasure. Fu Nanli's jawline was tense, and his whole body had a cold aura that kept strangers away. He turned around and left the playground. He had long legs, and Wen Qiao took 1 step to run 2 steps. She held up the complicated skirt and followed him with difficulty. "What's wrong with you? Are you tired from just flying back?" She had a fawning smile on her face, and she didn't understand why he was angry. Amnesiac Bigshot remembers only me. The boss lost his memory and only remembers me. Author, Ding Jiashu. Chapter 107. The car was parked next to the playground. When the bodyguard saw him arriving, he opened the door for him. Even though he was depressed, he stopped by the car, put his hand on the roof of the car, and protected her into the car. Zhuang Yan, who originally had no intention of coming to the welcome party, saw the short videos in the group that were flooding the screen, and none of them were Wen Qiao. She is wearing a long red hanfu dress and a veil with gold thread on her face. She is breathtakingly beautiful. He hurried over and saw Fu Nanli carrying her into the car. The car slowly left in front of him. Through the half-open window, Wen Qiao even glanced casually. She raised her chin slightly, with no wave in her eyes, as if she was looking at a stranger. When the car was far away, Zhuang Yan threw his cell phone angrily. In the past, it was Wen Qiao who chased his shadow. Now that things have changed, when he looked back at her, she was no longer waiting for him. The lights in the car flickered on and off, and Fu Nanli was still wearing the captain's uniform, with his captain's cap beside him. Wen Qiao gathered up the hem of her skirt and turned her head to look at him. The man seemed to be surrounded by an aura of hostility, with a keep away from strangers expression on his face. "Are you tired?" Wen Qiao leaned over. Fu Nanli held her hand. "Do you think I'm tired?" Wen Qiao, like. Fu Nanli. What followed was a long silence. The driver, Lao Hu, was anxious for his young master. It would not be embarrassing to speak out if he was jealous. If you don't speak out, the little girl won't understand what you are thinking. Oops, urgent. Wen Qiao wanted to make him happy, so she even pulled out the video of her and Shangfan performing on the same stage on her phone to show him. They all said that our collaboration with Shangfan was unexpectedly good, and it even became a hot search on Weibo. Lao Hu. Xiao Wen, aren't you adding fuel to the fire? Fu Nanli lowered his eyes. In the short 10-second video, Shangfan looked back at Wen Qiao 5 or 6 times. Does it look good? Added more fire. Fu Nanli squeezed Wen Qiao's wrist, and Wen Qiao could feel the man's strength. Wen Qiao, did you do this on purpose? What? Show the video of you and Shangfan looking at each other affectionately to your boyfriend to deliberately anger me. Wen Qiao, deep, looking at each other affectionately. How did you see that we looked at each other affectionately? His imagination is too rich. Besides, you are my boyfriend, why should I anger you? The car had stopped downstairs at the apartment he rented, and the driver, Lao Hu, said, "Master, I'm leaving first," and quickly ran away. The street lights were dim, with graceful light and shade. The cold light of the badge on the man's collar shone lightly on his chin, making his facial features appear deeper and deeper. The man's thin lips slowly opened. What's your relationship with Shangfan? Why did he hug you alone after the performance? Wen Qiao knew that all his unhappiness came from the interaction between her and Shangfan. She carefully put away her phone and scratched her head. Did you only hug me? When she saw him, she couldn't wait to leave the stage and didn't notice Shangfan's actions behind him. With a strong force on his hand, she was dragged into his arms. Yes, I only hugged you, he gritted his teeth. The young master was not very happy. I really didn't pay attention, so I won't let others hug me from now on, okay? Anger was already hovering in the top of her head. Fu Nanli thought she couldn't say anything nice to coax him, but he didn't expect that she gave in quickly. The ends of her eyes were slightly drooped, and her soft little hands were put on his shoulders. Her voice was soft and gentle. Amnesiac Bigshot remembers only me, the boss lost his memory and only remembers me. Author, Ding Jiashu. Chapter 108. The anger hovering above his head was extinguished in an instant. The thick pads of his thumbs gently rubbed her face. Wen Qiao, if you keep your word, you will be the only one in my arms, and you can no longer let others hold you. Wen Qiao nodded solemnly, yes. After thinking for a while, he added, where is my younger brother? My younger brother shouldn't be counted as someone else, right? Fu Nanli narrowed his eyes and looked at her. Don't be so harsh, that's my biological brother. The man looked unhappy. Wen Qiao's cheeks were bulging and he tugged on his sleeves. My brother is definitely not someone else. On the roof of the boys' dormitory, the night breeze in late August was not that hot. Zhuangyan bought a bunch of canned beer and sat on the roof, leaning against the wall, drinking and watching videos saved on his phone. This video was probably taken by one of her admirers, and it only focused on her throughout the whole process. Those stubborn, tearful eyes always lingered in his mind. He noticed her when high school started. After all, she is the most beautiful girl in the school. Not only is she good looking, but she is also tall and has top grades. While other boys like pure girls, he is always sizing her up secretly. However, less than a month after the start of the school year, and as soon as the military training ended, overwhelming rumors about Wen Qiao's chaotic private life spread across the school. Now I know those were rumors, but it's too late. At that time, when he heard those words, he was furious, feeling that his love had been wrongly paid, and he intensified his efforts to ridicule and slander Wen Qiao in order to distance himself from his previous absurd love. When he was assigned to the same class as a sophomore in high school, he was secretly overjoyed, but he still treated her with a cold face. When he received the love letter she carefully wrote, he wondered why she didn't give it to him secretly, and why she entrusted someone else to hand it over to him in public. With so many people looking at him and staring at him, he always showed his disgust for her on his face. Apart from throwing the love letter into the trash can, did he have any other choice? He didn't. He threw away the love letter and added, "Wen Qiao, she is worthy." The young man's pride hurt him miserably. She was right, he had trampled her pride to the ground. I regretted day and night, regretting hurting her, but it also drifted away, and there was no way to do it again. Chuanyan looked at the beautiful girl in the video whose veil was blown away by the wind, and murmured in a low voice, "Why didn't I confirm those rumors? Why did he just believe it? If he didn't believe it, would the ending be different now? But there is no if, she no longer loves him, she fell in love with someone else." When he suddenly realized that he wanted to chase her, she threw herself into the arms of another person without looking back. The Yanjian Forum became active again that night. There are two high-rise buildings in the forum, one of which belongs to Sulu. The boys admire her as the new school beauty. This post was posted for 4 days, with a total of 60 pages and nearly 6,000 comments. Another tall building belongs to Wen Qiao. She started building the building that night when she was performing, and there were nearly 1 million pages of comments in one night. When Sulu saw Wen Qiao's discussion post, her jealousy began to haunt her again, but Wen Qiao had clearly warned her. Thinking of Wen Qiao in the alley that night, she shuddered unconsciously. I don't dare to provoke her blatantly, and I don't dare to stir up trouble secretly. I don't know what kind of hacker master Wen Qiao has hooked up with. He can even decipher her voice changer video. It's probably not difficult to find her by following the IP. There was another post that went viral that night. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Amnesiac Bigshot remembers only me, the boss lost his memory and only remembers me. Author, Ding Jiashu. Chapter 109. That is, when Shang Fan finished singing the last song, he thanked one person on the stage, the composer-teacher of that song, Mu Yu. He also said that Mu Yu was a freshman at Yanjian University, but because Mu Yu kept a low profile and was unwilling to show her true colors, he could only thank her in this way. The forum is almost abuzz with discussion. After all, this song Jingj is the most popular song of the year. It was actually composed by a freshman, and it is still in Yanjian. It may be around them. This Mu Yu is not only talented, but also very mysterious, which inspires even more. How curious people are about her. Sulu flipped through the post, thoughtfully. Finally, I posted a post anonymously with a sensational title, Could Sulu be Teacher Mu Yu? As far as I know, Sulu won the International Piano Grand Prix when she was a freshman in high school, and has won various awards one after another. She is very talented in music, and she is also very low-key. Will she, could it be her? The general public has always been easily led. Sulu is indeed well known in the music industry. After all, she has been in the news many times after winning international awards. Is Sulu low-key? I don't think so. The first message almost made Sulu angry to death. She immediately read dozens of comments herself, deleted the comment that questioned her, and changed several different accounts to echo her words. When you say that, I think it's very possible. I heard that she composed a tune by herself when she was in high school and performed it at the school anniversary party. The tune was also very nice. With Sulu's rhythm, everyone gradually began to believe it. It has always been like this. This post actually spanned more than 10 pages, and everyone in the back said, "Sulu is awesome, Sulu is really a combination of beauty and talent, Sulu is my goddess, and I declare that I will definitely vote for the new school beauty." Sulu has 1 vote. Sulu raised her eyebrows slightly. Others had said it anyway, and she didn't come forward to say anything. Even if Zhenhua comes out to claim it in the future, it has nothing to do with her. Wen Qiao and Fu Nanli sat in the car and argued for a long time, and finally succeeded in getting Mr. Fu to give in and allow him to hug his family and friends. Wen Qiao breathed a sigh of relief, but did not realize that Fu Nanli's possessiveness towards her had reached the level of a real boyfriend. Perhaps, he was even more jealous than ordinary boyfriends. It's a pity that Wen Qiao's tendons are straight and his ability to associate in this area is not rich. Looking up, I saw that the driver was long gone. I looked at my phone again, it was already 9 o'clock. The question arises, should she go back to school or go home? "Can you take me home?" "It's close to home, so go home." The driver has gone back. The man leaned back in his chair and spoke in a low voice. "Can you drive?" "Yes, but I can't open it now." Wen Qiao tilted his head and looked at him confused. "Why?" "Uncle Li said that my previous driver died in a car accident, so." Wen Qiao understood that he had a psychological shadow. "Then I'll walk back. It only takes 10 minutes. The man's wrist was still held tightly by the man, not very hard, but it still left a red mark. The man reached out and pushed open the car door on his side. "Get out of the car." Wen Qiao held up the hem of her skirt and got out of the car with difficulty. "You don't have to accompany me back. I'll walk back by myself." Fu Nanli took her to the door of the apartment building. "Wen Qiao, what is this for?" "It's getting late. I'll stay here tonight and take you back to school tomorrow morning." One more chapter. The flute has been changed to transverse flute. Thank you for your advice. I will save the manuscript for the next 2 days, and there should be 4 stable updates starting next Tuesday. Asking for recommendation votes. Thank you all for your support, I love you. Amnesiac Bigshot remembers only me, the boss lost his memory and only remembers me. Author, Ding Jiashu. Chapter 110. Click, the access control card was swiped, and the door opened slightly. Wen Qiao instinctively grabbed the handle of the door. "It's still early, I'll walk back in only 10 minutes. The man put away the access control card, turned his head and glanced at her, frowning slightly. Wen Qiao was a little flustered all of a sudden. She seemed to be resisting too obviously. She was afraid of arousing his suspicion, let go of the doorknob, and grabbed his arm. "Then, let's stay for one night. Which floor do you live on?" 12th floor. On the top floor, one elevator for one household. The elevator opened, and after a few steps, he arrived at the door of his apartment. The combination lock, his slender fingers pressed a few numbers, and asked her in a deep voice, "What's your birthday?" Wen Qiao replied obediently, "October 27 th." There was a beeping sound of buttons, and finally he said, "The password has been changed to your birthday." After speaking, she took her into the room. Wen Qiao hesitated to speak, and finally chose to shut up. This is a duplex apartment. The decoration style is simple and elegant, mainly in gray tones. The entrance is slightly narrow. After the entrance, there is a very spacious living room with a whole side of floor-to-ceiling windows. There are no lights on at this time, and only the starlight shines in the whole house. Bright. He changed his slippers, and there were women's slippers in the shoe cabinet at the entrance, which were new and obviously prepared for her. Wen Qiaochen pulled the slippers and was dragged to the living room by him. Don't turn on the light, She was pulled into the sofa by him and held in his arms. Because of the darkness, her senses were more sensitive than usual, and she flinched a bit, instinctively retreating. When the two were alone, Wen Qiao always had the illusion that he was the prey. He would drop his usual gentleness and be aggressive, and she had nowhere to hide. Afraid to be alone with me, without any physical movement, his hand was only resting on the armrest of the sofa. In the darkness, half of the man's face was hidden in the gloom. Wen Qiao's guilt was even worse during the day, and he stretched out his hand to lightly rest on him. Chest. No. If she let her inner thoughts go, she even wanted to stay by his side. Greed is uncontrollable. Really? The man tore off the tie around his neck with one hand, threw it aside, and stared at her. Wen Qiao's softness was only shown in front of Fu Nanli. You probably don't have a deep understanding of your own appearance. No girl in the world can resist you. How could I be afraid of being alone with you? She didn't know if she said this to deal with Fu Nanli, or if she accidentally said something deep in her heart. After a long time, she became confused, and occasionally tried to sort out her deepest thoughts, but the more she rationalized, the more chaotic she became. The man finally had no further doubts, and reached out to rub her soft hair. 7 days on 11th, right. Yet his aggression and oppression were put away for a short while, and Wen Qiao could feel it, and secretly heaved a sigh of relief. The Air Traffic Management Bureau's assessment of me has come down, and I will officially return to the captain's position on November 1st, and fly to Germany with me. Wen Qiao. I'm going to fly again. I'm not used to German food. This is really unacceptable. She is not lying. Bring you a cook. Wen Qiao. Don't ordinary people bring some instant noodles? Okay, the young master's brain circuit is different from that of ordinary people. Well, that's fine. After finishing speaking, he felt that he was too foodie, raised his eyes, and the man smiled, and said in a doting tone, eating is that important? Sure enough, it was decided that she was a foodie. Food is the most important thing for the people.